Welcome everybody to my Jun tutorial. So in this video I want to share everything I know that I learned with the character Jun since the start of Tekken 8. I think I have quite a good understanding on how the character works right now, so I hope I can teach you something in this and give you all you need to know to get started with her. So overall, why do you want to play the character? In my opinion, she is definitely one of the stronger characters in this game right now. She has some things where she really excels at. For example, her combo damage is really good. She has a lot of good counter hit tools that you can use, some really strong moves which are plus on block to create pressure for the opponent so he makes mistakes, to run into your counter hit things. And overall she has a lot of good and decent things. She's, at some points she's not completely bad at something. Though she also does have some weaknesses which I have to mention. For example, she doesn't have a 15 frame standing launcher, which is important, so you cannot launch punish rage arts, for example. Also, her standing punishers in general are relatively weak. I will go about it in a second when I come to her punishers, so to explain why I think it's a little bit weaker than others. Also, her jab and down forward 1 range is a little bit weaker as other characters, which you have to be mindful of. And she's a little bit more linear, so you have to be careful at a certain point that you don't mindlessly do your strings or stuff, because she can get sidestepped relatively easy. And yeah, I think that sums it up really good. The cool thing in general, I think Jun is easy to learn and maybe not hard to master, but you definitely have to improve yourself as a player, which is good, because at some points she's a little bit linear, so you can do mindless stuff at some point, which is really good for a starting beginning character. So first off, let's get over her punishing game. Let's start with a standing one. So for 10 frames you can either do 1-2, which is very terrible damage wise, but at least you get plus 6 frames to create more pressure. Or the move that is really strong is up forward 1. It's 36 damage, knockdown, ward splat, which is really strong, but you have to be mindful, you also lose some health while you do this, and quite a bit, to be honest. Look at the top left on my health bar. So in general, definitely do go for up forward 1. I often forget this move, but be mindful that you're also losing some health, which is important to know. For 11 frames, you don't get anything new. For 12 frames, you get 2-1-4, which unfortunately is less damage than up forward 1, and it's -1 on hit. So not that great. I think this is kind of a weakness, so you still want to go for up forward 1, even for 12 frames. For 13 frames, you get 1+2, that's your standard heat engager as a punish, or back for 2, which is this one. 1+2 you use as a heat engager and a knockdown, back for 2 you use for plus frames as it's +5 on hit, which is really nice. For 14 you don't get anything new. You can use standing 3, but why would you do this? You use 1+2 in this situation as well. For 15, as I mentioned earlier, you don't get a launch, but with down back 1-1-1+2, this move, you get a nice ward splatting knockdown move, which is good to know. So if you want to punish rage arts, use down back 1-1-1+2. And finally, for 16 frames you get down forward 2, this is your launcher, and for 17 frames and up you get forward 2. So these are your standing punishers, and in my opinion, besides the up forward 1, it's relatively weak as you only get something useful at 13 frames and you don't have a standing launcher, which is a bit of a weakness, but you can work with this. Her wild standing punishers, however, are really strong. You get, for 10 frames, full crouch down forward 1, it's this one. It's also 36 damage, knockdown, ward splat, and this is really fantastic to have a wild standing 10 frame punisher, so you can punish certain moves very heavily where other characters can't do this. As well, with up forward 1 you lose health a little bit if you use this, so be careful of that. For 11 frames you get wild standing 4, another fantastic wild standing punisher. 11 frame fast knockdown, high damaging move is very good. And for 12 frames you don't get anything else. For 13 you get wild standing 2-1. Really good ward splatting wild standing punisher, fantastic. And for 14 frames, which is also really good, while standing 3, so at 14 frames you already get a launcher, which is much better when standing. Really fantastic. And if you block a very bad low, for example Snake Edge, you can do while standing 3+4 to get a very heavy high launching Punisher. So, these are all of our Punishers. Let's go over to the next section. Alright, let's talk about Jun's heat system. So after you are in heat, not a lot of things will change, but what is really cool are her heat smashes. She has 2, and all of her chunky extensions that require or loses your health will no longer cost health. So let's go into heat. And as you can see, for up forward 1 for example, you don't lose any more health. The same for every extension that she uses to make some moves safe. So for example down for 2, 1+2, she no longer uses health. This is one of the main things that she has in heat. And she only gains 2 more moves in heat, which are extremely good and very important, as she has one of the best heat smashers in the game. It's her... her normal heat smash on standing, extremely fast, 13 frames, so an extremely good Punisher. It has insane range, goes around half of the screen, and it requires a big chunk of health. So one of the very best heat smashes in the game. You always want to make sure that you at least throw this out so you can get some recoverable health back. A very strong tool, it's a big chunk, it already won me some rounds, so her normal heat smash extremely good. And she also has a second one from Genjitsu. You can do a heat smash, it's a big chunky low, which also can wall splat around a certain range from the wall. Be careful though, at this is -14, so it's not safe. So you can punish this. So yeah, nothing too much to talk about Jun in heat, cause quote-unquote all she gains, which is already quite a lot. She doesn't lose any more health, and she has access to 2 really good heat smashers, and her normal standing heat smash is absolutely insane. Alright, before we get over to our main tools and counter tools that we can use, I think we should first talk about her 3 stances. And all of them are relatively easy and straightforward to learn, and you only need to know 2 of them, because one is more or less useless, you only lose it as a bound. So let's get started with her Genjitsu stance. It is executed by several moves. You can either do it manually with forward 3+4, or you can do other stuff like forward 2 forward, you can go into this, back to 1, hold forward, you can into this, and I think these are the main options you need to know to get into the stance. So what can you do? You have Genjitsu 1, it's this low, relatively fast, it's +3 on hit, which is good, and it's not too punishable on block, which is awesome, and it's only -13, so you only have to be careful about Kazuya to get launched. With others, it's a really good low poke, in my opinion, to have. One of the better ones she has. The other thing you have is Genjitsu 2. It's mainly used as a combo ender and as a power crush. It's a mid-16 frame, does a big chunk of damage, so if your opponent tries to interrupt, you can do for this power crush options, which is really scary. But be careful, it is also -13 on block, so it's unsafe. What else you have is back to forward 3+4 4. It's a homing move, relatively slow, but the good thing is it's plus on block. In my opinion, it's not that great because it's a little bit too slow, so you can use other stuff better. And the last move she has is this one, Genjitsu 3-2. This one is her, I think, one of the better main mid options she has. It's safe on block, and yeah, as you saw, it's a natural combo, which is nice, knockdown, and you will only lose a little bit of health if you use this. So, this is a Genjitsu. I think you can mainly use it by back to 1 forward if your opponent is minding his own business enough that you don't duck the second high. Forward 2 forward is also really good, but you also can do it manually. It's one of the better stances which you can use. Really nice one. Next stance is her Izumo stance. This is the one that is very explosive and very 50-50 heavy. So you can get into it by either pressing up 2. This is doing manually going into this. You can do 1-2, forward 3-2, forward 1, and 1-1. These are the options. In my opinion, it is very important at some point that you have to do up 2 to get into this dance, because every other thing is not that strong in my opinion, but we'll get to this in a second. So, what actions do we have here? We have Izumo 2. It's a launching move, but it is unsafe. So, in my opinion, not that useful. You have Izumo 1-1. Fast hitting knockdown, natural combo, which is nice, also you can use as a tornado. 1-2 as a good knockdown, which leaves her right in your face. Quite decent. One of the most important and dangerous moves she has. I think for 1+2 or 4-2, I have to check a bit. It is, I think... It's for 1. Izumo for 1. This is a health sweep. It's launch punch on block, so you have to be careful, but very, very damaging. And very scareful, which the opponent wants to avoid at all costs. And also you have forward 1+2. It's a nice homing move. It's safe on block, but -9, so you have to be careful, your turn is over. And you also have a power crash with 1+2, which is okay, it's -12, gives a nice knockdown. Not too bad. And the last thing I like to use is Izumo 3. This one, 16 frame fast, it's heat engager. It can crush some lows. Very useful, plus it's safe on block. So this I think is a very good mid option. So in my opinion, what you want to use is Izumo for 1+2, for 1, to mix the opponent up to get him ducking. And the free option to make him scared of the mid. And if he's trying to interrupt, you can go for either your Power Crush, which you have to be careful of, or 1-1 is also a decent option if he tries to interrupt. And once again, what is important to know if you want to go in manually, at the later stage of the game, you mainly want to use up 2. If you want to use the stance for pressure, because 1-2, the third one is high and duckable, 4-3-2, the second one is high and duckable, and opponents will duck launch you for this. 1-1 is -1 on block, so the opponent can mash you out of the stuff with a simple down forward 1, so not the best option in my opinion. And forward 1 is way too slow on startup, I don't like this move at all, plus it's only 0 on block, so not the best thing to get started in. Only if your opponent respects you way too much, you can go for 1-1, for example, into your Izumo mix-up. Okay, so this was a little bit longer than I wanted to, but let's go quickly over the last stance. Her back 1+2, I don't know the name, it's this one. The main gimmick of this one is you can recover some health, which is not really that great, so don't use it for that. And you have some options to do after this. The back 1+2 is a heat engager, but very terrible on block. -20, so don't use this, just mindlessly, but it has decent range. But yeah, not that great. Also she can do Izumo 1. This is one of the main tornado moves. In the open it's not that great, it's safe and all, but you don't really use it that much. You can also do 1+2 to cancel into Izumo, so back 1+2, 1+2, goes onto your Izumo. And you can also do a forward, so back 1+2, when you press forward you go into Genjutsu, so you can do other stuff. So overall it's more of a niche stance, you only use it in the combo route. So these are all of the stances, let's go over to the next section. Alright, let's get going with her main tools and counter tools. This one will also be a little bit longer because there's a lot of tools that you have to utilize and make use of, because at some point she is very steppable and the opponent will know how to duck her strings, so you have to use a bit more of her moveset to make the opponent do mistakes that you can abuse or not abuse or punish at this point. So I think I would start with the counter tools she has. As I said in the intro, she has a lot of good counter tools, and we can start with her Magic 4. 12 frame fast, and she has one of the better ones in this game, because she can get a 3+4 for follow-up, for guaranteed damage, 48. If you're not quite that sure if the 3+4 will hit or not, you can dash in and do a forward 2 for good Oki at the later stage. So very good to use. And the next thing she has, one of the main ones, is full crouch down for 2. It's this one. Extremely good low poke that you need to use, as you can get the guaranteed wide standing 3, so a launcher. If you're a little bit unsure, you can also do wide standing to 1. If you're surprised, it's 1 frame faster, excuse me, which also quite good on damage. So full crouch down for 2, excellent counter hit tool. Make use of it and learn to recognize the animation when you get the counter hit, so you can get the full combo out of this later. Another good countered launcher she has up for 3. It's this one. It's low crushing, it's safe on block, and yeah, it gives you a combo, as you can see here. And now you can combo normally. I will show later in the combo section what you need to do. Up for 3 is decent, also has great range, and as I said, safe on block, so good one you can use. Down 2, also countered launcher. You can use it every here and then, so don't be surprised if you land the hit. Nice one to have. Also, what is really interesting and surprising, wide standing 2 is also a launcher on counter hit. Bam! You get a full combo after this. So wide standing 2, great one, great mid poke to use. But you have to be careful, at it is -8 on block, so you have to sometimes mix it up with wide standing 1-2, so you're not completely helpless in the face of the opponent. But yeah, wide standing 2, also a countered launcher, which is really, really nice. And what also we have, sometimes you can get the opponent with forward for 2-2, the second hit is the launcher, and back for 2, kind of similar. So you can delay both of the strings quite a bit, as you can see here. So instead of you mash it out instantly, you can delay it quite a bit to get a countered launch here. Only the second hit though, so be aware of that, but sometimes you can make use of it. So I think these are probably all and the most important counter tools that you have to use with Jun. Maybe I forgot something, but these are the main ones that you need to utilize. So let's quickly turn off the counter hit. Like this. So we don't get the countered launch anymore. So let's go over other main tools that you have to use with Jun. So, other good tools, of course, are her jabs. We have a little bit of weaker range than other characters, but still very important to use. Jabs are always good to keep the opponent in check. And the cool thing for Jun is her 1-2, for example. The second hit tracks really, really well to both sides. So jabs are important for you to utilize. Same goes with 2-1. It's this one. Cool thing is it's a high mid. Also the second hit has really good tracking to both sides, which you have to utilize to keep the opponent in check if he wants to sidewalk and sidestep you. She also has a decent down forward 1. Unfortunately, hers is -3 on block, and also the range is not the best. Against certain characters also about this range, yeah, it's also already going to whiff. But she has some extensions which are nice. Down forward 1-1, for example, natural combo, which is mid-mid, but -11 block, so you have to be careful of that. Don't always throw this out, as this is punishable. And you also have down forward 1-2. It's a mid-high, but the second one is duckable. So her down forward 1, her extensions aren't really that great, but you have a down forward 1. Be careful, hers is very linear. You can sidestep this to both sides relatively easy. So let's go over some more crazier moves that she has. Sidestep 4. Fantastic move. On block it's +6, which is absolutely insane. You can really pressure your opponents, it's relatively fast. So fantastic move, also heat engager, absolutely great. Really, really good move. The next one, which is really, really crazy, is forward 4. It's this one. It's +13 on hit, which means you can get either a guaranteed back for 1 or another heat engager. Fantastic move, homing, high, relatively fast. You have to be a little bit closer. It seems that it might sometimes have more range than it should have. I think this is very great right now, but don't be too far off or this will whiff. Don't overestimate the range, that's all I want to say. But overall, very fantastic move, really, really good. Make use of this. For other stuff you want to use for her poking, let's go over this for a little bit. We also already covered the jabs and down forward 1. Her back 2 options are also really, really good. Back to 2. Mid-mid, 14 frames fast. Safe on block, but it's -9, so you be careful of that, as you're right in the opponent's face. And also on hit, you're more or less neutral, so you're way too far off to get anything guaranteed. So, but overall it's a good one because it will catch people who are sidestepping to the right. So if your opponent steps a lot to the right, use back to 2. If your opponent is scared enough of the mid-mid, you can also throw in back 1-2, because you can go into your stances here, which is nice to have. So you can mix up your opponent, which is nice. Other pokes that you have to utilize are for her low pokes, down back 3. This is a decent one. It's unfortunately only +2 on hit, so you can't get a guaranteed down forward 1, which is a little bit sad. But the range is fantastic and the damage is okay overall. And it's relatively safe, it's only -12, which is nice. The next one I also like to use a lot is down back 2. This high crush is a little bit better. It's relatively slow with 23 frames, but most of them won't duck this because of down 2. The animation looks very similar, so if you mix these two up, almost no one will block this. It's also only, let's see, -12 on block. The last low poke that you have to utilize is down 4. This is a very fast one. And also what's important, it's almost a homing move, it catches people sidestepping. So if the opponent steps a lot, you can use down 4, which is really, really nice, plus it's a good way to end the round. Really, really good. However, never ever use down 4-4. People will duck launch you like every time. This is such a classic. Just use down 4 on itself. Yeah, that's for her poking. And for other good stuff that you can use is down forward 3. It's a safe homing wall spreading move. Really, really nice, especially against the wall. Really, really good. And what else can you use? Let me think of it. Down forward 3 is very important. At certain situations you can use forward 1 +2. I mainly use this move after a heat engager, because on block it's +6 and does a big chunk of damage. However, don't throw this out randomly because it's extremely steppable to both sides. And of course, before I forget, her down for 2 is really, really crazy. On itself it's -12, but you can make it safe by pressing down for 2, 1 +2. Note though, you lose quite a chunk of health, so you can't spam this every time. You will lose quite a lot, but it's still better than getting punished. And if assists, it's a really great high-hitting launcher. So her down for 2 is really, really strong. Make use of this. And right, these are about all of her standing pokes and main tools that you have to use. So let's talk about her, a little bit of her sidestepping as well, and her wide standing and full crouching game. So let's go with sidestepping. Sidestep 4 I already mentioned, fantastic move, uses a lot, it's great. Sidestep 2 is also a nice, quick, safe ward spreading move that you can use every once in a while. And the cool thing is after 1-2, excuse me, you can do up or down to go manual into sidestep, which can be nice to use. The same thing before at 3. Up or down, you can also go into your sidestep mix-up. So nice to know, keep these options in mind, you will need them later on in the game if your opponent knows how to duck launch these transitions. So, for full crouch and wide standing, this is something that you also have to utilize quite a bit, because on full crouch she has some really, really strong options. As I already mentioned, wide standing 2 is fantastic, far hitting, mid poke, which is also a countered launcher, really, really fantastic. While standing 1+2 is also a counter hit launcher, which I forget to mention, I think, in the previous section. It's this move, really fantastic. Use while standing 1+2 a lot, it's good. You can also cancel it by holding down, which is nice to have. And don't forget to use full crouch down for 2. Extremely fantastic low poke. Fast, relatively safe on block, only -11, fantastic low. Use this a lot. Really good. And also from full crouch, this is something where you can make a comeback relatively good. Full crouch down for 3 is nice when your opponent is afraid of ducking, so you can get a nice knockdown and a guaranteed follow-up after this. So full crouch down for 3, nice, but be careful though, this is one of a few launch puncher moves she has. So, yeah, overall I think this sums it up relatively good. As I said, you have to make use of a lot of moves for her. Start off relatively simple with some jabs, back to 2, use her down for 2 accordingly. Don't forget to implement her while standing game. It's very important for the pressure. Don't forget to cancel some things to make the opponent hesitant. For example, while standing 1+2 you can cancel by holding down, so you can go into full crouch. Forward 2, you can hold down to go into full crouch, which can be useful. Other moves that release her into full crouch, which are important. Down back 2, down back paw for full crouch, and so on. And yeah, I think this is it for her main tools. I hope it wasn't too much. Try to keep it simple. This should cover nearly everything that you need to know. Alright, let's get over Jun's combos. I want to keep this relatively short and give you some easy and bread and butter combos that you can use, and also an example for higher damaging one at the end there, or in the middle, let's see. The notations will be displayed at the bottom for some of these, so you don't have to hear everything out that I have to say. So for the start, let's go for her down forward 2 option. I really like to use the relatively simple one. It's this example. This gives relatively good Oki, it's good on ward carry, and you don't use that much of your life, because as you may have, maybe if you paid attention, you lose a little bit of life on the bound move I use here. There, it's a little bit. So yeah, this is one I like to use. If you want to get a little bit more damage out of this, you can do, for example, this one. This already does 68, but you will use health twice at the end and as for the bound, so you have to be mindful to not overuse it too much, and be careful that you damage yourself a little bit. For while standing, she has basically the same combo, so simple as that. What you also can do here, you can get an extra standing 4. This will also work, which is quite cool, so it's basically the same. Nothing new you have to learn. Note though, on a down forward 2, the standing 4 will work, so this is why I only mentioned the standing 4 on her while standing. The cool thing for Jun is even on the big sidestep, her combo will still work the same, which is really nice, so it's extremely reliable. Same thing for while standing 3, which I like a lot. And only thing I want to mention for back turn, her down forward 2 is the exact same. However, her while standing 3, the back for 1 will live. So be very careful, and remember you have to do an extra jab to get then the same combo. So this is the only thing you have to remember on these bread and butter things. Only on back turn and only on while standing 3 you have to do an extra jab. The rest is always the same, relatively easy and straightforward. For a more high-hitting launcher, for example this one, you can get a free hit in there relatively easy. You can even do forward 4 and then do some stuff. I will show the high damaging combo right now. And I whiff it, of course. This is the disgusting part for Jun. If you can get the high hitting launch and this exact follow-up, the last one will be guaranteed, and if your opponent stands up incorrectly, he will get relaunched, so this is one of the broken stuff she has. But yeah, you can only get this after forward 2. If I can get it. My god. Yeah, you will get it. I just drop it a lot, so this is why I stick with a bread and butter combo. Okay, so let's go over her wall options. So don't waste too much time here. And this should be this one. Mainly I use the same as before the nerf. Do a wall splat into tornado. Forward, 3/4. I still like this a lot. It's still a good amount of damage. It has really good Oki potential, and if your opponent doesn't stand up, straight away you can get the down 1+2. Relatively awesome. And if he does a quick standing back roll, you have yeah, pressure opportunity, as he's very minus on standing up. So what's that? 4/3/4. 3/4. Very, very good. Alright, let's get over her some of the counter launches that you have to know. For up forward 3, you have to do an instant bound. This one. So up forward 3, up forward 2. And then you can do something like this. If I'm doing correct combo. Let me check. Something like this you can do. And the same goes for her wild standing 2. Same thing. You can do this. So on up forward 3, you have to remember you have to do an instant tornado, and also on wild standing 2 you also have to instant tornado. For her down 2, it's a little bit different. You can do something like this. So down 2, wild standing 2. And yeah, I'm dropping a combo, which is awesome. This, for example. I hope the notations is in the video right now. And what else you have to know? The rest is relatively easy and good. For wild standing 1+2, you can do the standard route, which is this one. For full crouch, for this one, it's the same combo afterwards that you already learned. So I think these are the main counter tools that you have to be aware of, and this is like the only thing you have to remember. So yeah, this is all about the combos. Hope it's not too long, and yeah, have fun. Okay, to end this tutorial, let's go over some AntiJun, so that you guys know how to deal with her, and also that you as a Jun player have to be aware of. And to start things, always make sure to duck her Izumo transitions, mainly 1 to 2. Always make sure to duck the third hit, or else you will get blown up. It's +6 on block, and you will die in her 50/50. So always make sure to duck this. Same with forward 3/2. Always make sure to duck the second hit. Also, be very patient against her, as you saw in the main tools of the section, that she has some really nasty counter hit tools and also some delayable strings. For example, back for 2 is extremely delayable, forward for 2/2 is extremely delayable, and if you try to interrupt her, you get counter hit launched, which you ideally not want to get. Yeah, simple as that. So make sure that you're patient against her, that you're stand blocking, and her lows, besides her full crouch and in her stance, are not that scary. Down back 3 is not that crazy, down 4 is not that crazy, also down back 2 is not that crazy. So stand block is very helpful against her, and be patient against her. So she really has to do a lot of things to open you up. And also what you have to be aware of is her throw game is relatively weak. Whenever you see a Jun try to grab you out of a stance, for example Izumo 3+1, this is also always a 1+2 grab. Same thing with full crouch down forward, down back 1+2, this move. Whenever you see a Jun grab you from full crouch or from a stance, always make sure to 1+2 throw break this. It's such an easy break. You should never get thrown out of a stance or off a full crouch, or else you will get blown up. So this is something that you have to be aware of, and also Jun has really linear moves. You can easily sidestep her down forward 1. You can relatively sidestep to the left, her back to 2 and something like that. Her forward 1 plus 2 is linear as hell. Same with down forward 1, down forward 2. So overall, make sure to use sidewalking. That the Jun player has to make use of homing moves a lot, which are a little bit slower, where you can sidestep block and stuff like that. So it will all get a little bit easier for you. So yeah, this is also something that you have to be aware as a Jun player. If you just mindlessly spam everything, you will get sidestepped into oblivion, as a down forward 1 is relatively weak, and you have to make sure to use 1-2 a little bit more, so you can catch people sidestepping, also down 4, which are also not the best of options. So yeah, a sidewalk and sidestep can do miracles against Jun. And for what I've tested, you can basically use both directions. Left and right are both equally good in my opinion. You catch people sidestepping right by using back to 2. Maybe we can show this even. Let me try this really quick. So, yeah, back to 2 is a bit better for catching, which is nice, but as you can see here, sidestep left works really well. Sidestep right, even the same, that's crazy. Sidewalk, so yeah, as I said, you can walk her and make her punish. So yeah, a quick sidestep will help, and in my what I've learned, left and right is both relatively good. She only has a few options where you can catch your opponent sidewalking. So yeah, to summarize this once again, really make sure to duck the Izumo transitions, be patient to not get caught in their countered stuff. Her lows aren't that crazy on the neutral, her poking isn't that crazy on the neutral. Make sure to use her plus frames when she does big chunky mids, for example. It's not big chunky, but back to 2 for example. It's extremely minus on block. Same thing when you block this one, which will Jun throw out a lot. Make sure to use her plus frames as she's -9 a lot of the times. Same with this one. Even her down forward 1 on block is -3, so make sure when you block something to mix her up, be patient, duck her stuff, and yeah, I think you will be doing much better against her than you used to. So yeah, short anti, short weaknesses, stuff that you also have to be aware of, and yeah, this sums up my tutorial. It's a little bit longer than I expected to, now that I'm looking for all my stuff, but I hope this was informative for you, hope you find it interesting. And if you want more stuff like this, yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. I can also do maybe a tutorial for Steve, Lee and Leo, if you're interested. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.